In section 4, Peter Goes to the Park, of Mrs. Dalloway, the narrative opens, remember my party, said Peter Walsh as he stepped down the street, speaking to himself rhythmically, in time with the flow of the sound, the direct, downright sound of Big Ben striking the half hour. Now 11:30, Peter Walsh feels Clarissa Dalloway has grown hard, yet sentimental, and that she's refused him. The bells of St. Margaret's sound, reminding Peter of Clarissa's punctuality and her frequent illnesses. He sees soldiers marching by and feels he can no longer keep up with the young men, physically or intellectually. He considers the great renunciation he's made by choosing a bureaucratic career and worries about his divorce. Peter also feels unencumbered and free with the knowledge that few people have any idea he's in London. Enjoying this new freedom, he sees an attractive woman in Trafalgar Square and begins to follow her home. He feels a connection, assuming from her clothing and her red carnation that she's witty and respectable. After the woman enters her house, Peter decides to walk on to Regent's Park. He sits down in the park beside a nurse, still thinking of Clarissa and her daughter Elizabeth and their old habits. He naps on the park bench. Like Clarissa, Peter feels strong connections with strangers. He creates the better part of his life in his own mind. Peter believes that people can take control of their own narrative, write their lives, make up their stories, an ideology that aligns with the values of modernist writers. But the price for these unique perspectives is loneliness. He first follows a group of soldiers, imagining what the young men think and feel about their renunciation or sacrifice to the war, projecting his own idea of England and its military onto them. He follows a strange woman to her apartment, idealizing her in his head. Peter feels like an unmoored observer to his own life, just like Clarissa. He fights back against these feelings through romantic pursuits. His fantasies are like a storybook. He imagines himself as an adventurer, freshly returned from India, a land Londoners considered exotic. He tells himself a story about the young men serving bravely in the war, a story he himself really wants to hear. The cloud passing over the sun, a recurring image, signifies changes in mood for the characters. The voice of the hostess that follows, a metaphor for the clock at St. Margaret's, clearly represents Clarissa and her struggle to find her individual voice between grief of the past and concern for the present. Peter treasures the civilization the city represents. While critical of England's wide-ranging empire and its tendency to take over countries like India, Peter appreciates the workers who make society thrive, such as doctors and men of business and capable women. Indeed, Peter admires the show of society itself and its appearance of order.